Hi there, welcome to another episode of The Confronter, in which I try to give you insights and advice to help you build your mentality. In today's episode, I want to focus on what I call smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors are used in a magician's act to let the attention of the viewer go somewhere where the magician wants it to go, instead of where you would be seeing what he's actually doing. Now, there should be a picture appearing here about smoke and mirrors and a setup. I've taken the picture from Wikipedia, so no problem there. Now, I want to give a bit of a different interpretation to smoke and mirrors, because I want to focus on certain actions and mentalities that I would consider either smoke or mirrors. I'll try to explain what I mean by that in this video, and I hope you will find it insightful and helpful. Of course, the main thing to keep in mind when we think of smoke is that it is something that looks cool, is a bit dangerous, and is difficult, if not impossible, to grasp. A mirror, on the other hand, is something that can be gripped, which can be grasped, and which is firm and, of course, is not so cool perhaps, but certainly useful. And it also gives you a reflection. And I think these serve as pretty good analogs or metaphors for what I think you should try to be doing as a person. Let's start with the smoke first. So basically what I mean by people having a smoke mentality is that they are people that seem impressive, that look cool, perhaps act cool, but are really nothing to be relied on. And in fact, they can actually be rather dangerous. So just as smoke can also be dangerous if you breathe it in too much or even at all. So basically, a person who's got a smoke mentality is a person who seems pretty impressive, but really isn't. There's a line from the Exhibit song called Tough Guy that I think is pretty fitting here. Namely, he says in that song, "The big screen makes them seem large like an elephant, but in real life they're so soft and so delicate." And that is basically what we're looking at. We're looking at people who act tough, have a big mouth and so on, but can really not be relied upon at all when things go bad, when push comes to shove. So you know the type of people I'm talking about: braggarts and other people that are very visible, usually very loud as well, who will tell you all about the great stuff they'll be doing, or the impressive stuff they'll be doing, and who act big. But really, in the end, they cannot be relied upon, not at all. So I tend to think that people who have a smoke personality, as I call them, are people who will try to impress you because they need their own insecurities to be masked, and who want to convince others of their greatness in order to convince themselves of their worth. But sometimes they can step up to the plate when it really matters. But you will often find that people like that cannot be relied upon when the going gets tough. And then, indeed, as in the line I mentioned, they will turn out to be very soft and delicate indeed. So imagine a situation where the going gets really tough. You're facing adversity in life. Now, speaking from a rather privileged position, I am not a person who has experienced a lot of difficulties in life, though I certainly have. So, for example, I have dealt with cancer at close quarters. And that was probably the biggest challenge I ever had in my life. And it required me to step up, really, and to show and prove my worth. And I won't say that I did splendidly the entire time, but I did try to do my very best there. And in the end, I think I succeeded quite well. Perhaps not as well as I could have in the most ideal situation, but certainly good enough. And that was a situation for me in which I had to show what I could actually do and how reliable I was. And as I said, that was a major challenge. And that is the type of situation that you can face in which you'll have to put your money where your mouth is, really, if you are the type of person who brags about being, well, pretty impressive. Now, if you've got a person with a smoke mentality, they will usually hide whenever that challenge shows up. They will find excuses, they will run away, they will try to escape, and presumably, in the end, they will mostly try to avoid responsibility, or at least the challenge. Now, I'm not condemning fear here. I'm not condemning being impressed by the difficulty facing you. I am not condemning doubting yourself. I certainly am not. Those are all very natural and very understandable feelings when you are facing a great challenge, whatever type of challenge it might be. But I am condemning people who will, in the end, not even try to do their best. It's better, in the end, to have tried and to have failed, so to have been weighed and considered to way too little. That's possible because at least you tried and have tried to be the best person you can be in this situation. You have not given up from the get-go, but not actually facing the responsibility, whatever type of responsibility it might be, and vanishing like smoke, really, going up in smoke, you could say, avoiding tackling that difficulty that is coming your way. Now that is something I would condemn because it's showing yourself to be an unreliable person. And in my conviction, it is essential that you try to be reliable and that you try to be a beacon of strength as much as you can for the people around you and for your environment and surroundings. And I'll be pretty firm here. People who are actually have a smoke mentality, are people you should not try to rely upon because it can't be relied upon. Of course, you can give people the chance to improve their records, you could say. Don't deny people the possibility to prove their worth and to prove just how much they want to improve themselves if they've got that mindset. But be clear to yourself. If you're dealing with a type of person that cannot be relied upon, try not to do so. Basically, you will find that people like that, people who have a smoke personality and a smoke mentality, are talk rather than action. So, quoting Shania Twain here, more or less, so you've got the words, but have you got the touch? That's really what you're dealing with here. Now let's move on to what I would call a mirror's personality, a mirror's mentality, actually. So first off, it's important to realize that a mirror is, of course, something that you look into, something that can be grasped, and something that shows you what you are, and will also give you a way to improve what you are, or at least what you look like. So when you've got a mirror's mentality rather than a smoke mentality, as I would put it, you allow yourself to have a good look at yourself, to see where your actions, where your thoughts, and where your whole personality need improvements, and that you use that knowledge to take action and try to improve who you are, what you do, and keep in mind that really your actions are mostly what you will be judged by other people. Not so much what you're saying. Talk is cheap, really, but your actions are the things that define you and which you will, in the end, be judged by people who are smart enough to see that the actions are what prove your worth. So when you have the mirrors mentality, you look yourself in the eye and look yourself in the eye as honestly and as fairly as you can. And you try to look for what is good. So value what you like, just as you would when you look in the mirror and see the things about yourself, about your reflection that are to your liking. But you'll also have eye for what needs to be improved. So when you look in the mirror in reality, truly, you will probably find that you might need to adjust a hair, or you might need to wipe your nose, or whatever it might be that you consider worth improving. And when you do it metaphorically, as I mean here, you look at your personality and see what flaws you have. And though you cannot excise that, you cannot remove every flaw, you can at least work on it, just as you could improve upon your looks, even if you can't change your basic genetic makeup, of course, that is reflected in your phenotype, so in your external appearance. You can adjust it, you can't change it entirely. You can just act on what you have. What you perceive in the mirror is not necessarily real or realistic. Some people will see blemishes that really aren't there, whereas others will see beauty that really isn't there. Of course, you are always limited in how well you can view yourself. So actually, observations that are totally unbiased, that are totally objective, are impossible. But at least you can try to do as well as you can. As I said before, it's better to do your best and ultimately fail than not to try at all. An important part of what I consider the smoke mentality is that you are real in a sense. You look into the mirror, you gaze upon yourself, and you try to see yourself for who you are as much as you can. And by doing so, and by being true to yourself in that sense, being authentic, you will also be perceived as real to others. Now, some people will not like that. Well, tough luck for them, of course. People will need to accept you, and they will need to accept you if you are the type of person with the mentality that means that you try to do as best as you can. This is no free pass for just doing what the hell you want. As I've said in other videos, it's healthy and it's responsible to see yourself as a work in progress. So you should consider what you have already achieved and what you've already got as qualities, but also that you are an unfinished product. There are always things that you can improve upon, and I'm mostly talking personality and action-wise, especially here. So don't consider yourself finished. There is always something you can work on, and having that mentality that you want to improve upon yourself and that you know you can be a better person than you already are, despite how good you are already, is something that will allow you to be a mirror, to have a mirror mentality, to look upon yourself honestly, to value what you see, and to work on what still needs improvement, just as you would when you look in the mirror to see how well you're looking today. The way I've contrasted smoke mentality with mirrors mentality is, of course, a binary. It's not as easy in real life as I've described it here. I'm just describing the extremes here. You will find that in the end you are probably a mix of a smoke and a mirrors mentality, and that you will express your mentality in different ways, sometimes closer to being a mirror and sometimes closer to being smoke. Perfection doesn't exist, but consider yourself that work in progress that I've talked about already and which I've talked about in other videos as well. So realize that sometimes you are more smoke than you are mirrors, but at least try to be mirrors as much and as often as you can, and try to find a way in which you can be more of a mirrors than smoke. That is my advice for this video. Once again, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I hope I've given you some insights and hopefully been able to give you some help in dealing with your mentality and dealing with life in general. If you feel like subscribing to my channel, please do. I haven't got that many viewers yet, and I do think my messages might be useful to a lot of people. And if you feel like commenting, please do as well, just as when you would like to like this video. Thank you for watching, good luck, and bye.